Well, hello and welcome. Huh?
No,
What?
nothing. You're good. Go ahead. I don't know. I
Do I
say,
start?
I say you're good, and then you're always like, "What?" I'm like, "Go."
What? Okay. Okay. Well, hello. As you can see, technical aspects of this podcast are not our strong suits. Um, Welcome to Hopeful Resistance. I'm Sarah, and this is my son Aaron.
Hi.
And we do this every week. We chat about all things political. We talk about hopeful resistance. We talk about the batshit craziness of the current administration and how to make sense of the things that drag us down, drive us crazy, and make us want to pull our hair out. So today is certainly no different. Aaron and I have chatted on and off all week as we normally do. And this week we could not ignore the hot topic, which is the Epstein files. And of course, we approach this from a so what, who cares point of view. And in that regard, we're trying to make sense of, does this really matter? So, of course, I have notes. I have made a ton of notes. Aaron's got a bunch of notes on his screen. So, um, I think the important thing to talk about to start with is there even a list? No, there's not. So I think we need to clarify when we're talking about this Epstein, the list, what are we really talking about?
Right.
And for me, I think it's important that we recognize that it's not like there's this really clean list of pedophile clients and sex traffic
Yeah,
who
sex
make
traffic
orders
people, right?
for
Yeah.
sex trafficking clients. But we are talking about things like flight logs, the unsealed documents from the previous court cases. Of course, there's always a little black book. I don't care who you are. Um, I mean, emails, calendars, any kind of log that kept track of conversations. And so there isn't a very clean list that you're not going to find your favorite or
Yeah.
your most hated person on there.
Yeah, well, I think there's the other thing. That was the thing that we kind of talked about today is like, while there might not be like a list, there are certainly a lot of like really strange coincidences that are like
Winky.
that are probably worth talking about. I guess so. I One thing I wanted to start with is, I mean, so do you think that you buy more into the conspiracy side of it, or are you more of a skeptic?
It depends on what day you ask me, actually. So there are legitimately conspiracies on both sides,
Right.
right? So I, as a retired behaviorist, I pay attention to patterns, and I just think that there's something to this. What it is, I don't think we have to have all the answers to know that we want to find out the answers.
Right.
That's the best I can.
No, I think that's a good answer. Yeah, because I mean, I think I've told you kind of my whole spiel, which is basically like, I think that the evidence is either so drastically damning that it just touches so many people, or
Yeah.
there is actually nothing. And I think it's because of I think for me, because of the actually nothing side of it, is only
You think
because
you think legitimately there could be a big nothing burger here?
I do, and I say that because think of all the times that that MAGA like made bold claims about some conspiracy, and then whenever like the rubber hit the road, it was nothing. Like the COVID side effects thing, or like how many kids were being turned trans, or like what I mean. There's just like
Correct.
long list of things that were all bullshit.
The only difference between that and this that I would point to would be evidence.
Right.
Like and legitimacy of, like, for me, if it doesn't make sense, it's not true, right? There is no DNA changing thing in the vaccine. There's no microchip. The numbers don't lie, kind of thing.
Right.
But when you look at measurable evidence, photos, all the things that we do have access to,
Right.
there's a conspiracy in my mind. If there's a conspiracy, it is a very poorly hidden one
Yeah. Well,
to
and
hide.
yeah. So I was gonna say the thing that I've heard people say that I actually think is a better way of putting it is that there's no conspiracy, there's a cover up.
100%. That absolutely makes more sense. Now, do I think it's important to identify that proximity is not complicity? It's like, you know, we talk about, coincidence isn't causation kind of thinking.
Right.
Um, but we have patterns of association. I mean, look, there are just certain things that can't be ignored here. And if it's a big nothing burger, then what's the problem here,
Yeah.
right?
Then why not? Then why not release
I
what you've got? Or yeah.
Okay, you could legitimately say there's a big nothing burger going on. Okay, nothing burger. But then why would we have passed laws to not release it? Why is the current administration fighting releasing it? Why did they
Or
have the list and they don't have
yeah. Why is it? Yeah. Yeah. No. No. I
the
agree.
Democrats? There's so many Democrats on the list. I'm gonna, Trump ran on releasing the
You're
list.
right. No. I agree.
So it would be in his interest to lead them. So I think that we have to, the thing about conspiracy theories, and I think it's critically important that we say this, or that I say this. Of course there are conspiracies. I mean, you would be I hate to use this word, you would be an idiot if you do not believe that there are indeed conspiracies. The bad guys in a local neighborhood get together in someone's garage and sit around drinking beer, figuring how they're going to knock over the 7-Eleven. Okay. So if that happens at that level, then of course, the higher up you go, the more, I mean, you got
Yeah.
conspiracies. It's ridiculous to say that there aren't any. But I think when you try to dismiss legitimate concerns about patterns of behavior, measurable, demonstrative, associations, by saying, "Oh, it's a conspiracy," you're wearing me out on that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. I just wanted to. I guess I just wanted to get our official stances out before we start getting on the on the
Right?
on
Yes.
the
Let's
walk down.
there the walk down. So, the so what? Who cares? I think it's important that we're focusing on the right thing. Of course, there's a list, but the bigger question to me is, we need we have to stay focused on justice is served based on evidence, and it's built on evidence, and all the suspicion and the stories we write behind the scenes. None of this is helpful, and we are at the mercy of powerful people who are um hiding this, because I think this has a potential, if it's actually, released, the information, this would probably be a bombshell beyond imagination.
Yeah. When I think whenever we get into whenever we start going over some of the Maxwell stuff, I think it kind of makes it a little more.
It's
It really starts to lean in heavily into the
so
conspiracy.
right.
Yeah, it gets
So,
pretty things. Yeah, for real.
just for the record, your video for me is stuttered, but when I look over here on what's going to the feed,
Mhm.
it looks fine.
Yeah, I
So if
think
I
I
if
think the
I
internet has been fluctuating. I'm not sure. I know that what OBS will do is it will.
Solar storm somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I just know that OBS will capture everything and upload it. It'll just upload it as fast as it can, so it can lead to the
Yep.
stream but needing to buffer. But overall, everything will get in.
In the grand scheme of things, if this is the worst thing that happens to us today,
Yeah, I know.
I
um,
think I want to talk about a couple things real quick, and then I want you to start with some of the meat.
okay.
Um, what's the big deal? The argument could be made like, what's the big deal? And why do you keep grinding into this? Well, I think that we have to remember that the people who are fighting, and I don't want to make it us versus them. Anybody who is resisting releasing the information is them. I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, a Christian, a Jew. I don't care who you are. If you
Celebrity,
are in any way,
author,
shape,
whatever.
or form,
Right.
I don't care who you are. If you're resisting releasing the information, you're them. So we are trying to get the information released because let's remember, sex is currency. And so uh, Epstein wasn't just a sex trafficker, he was a power broker. He's using these women and he exploited them. He was blackmailing people and he's facilitating access to children as a means to maintain these powerful relationships. It isn't just about sex with underage girls, and we can't keep saying underage women, they're girls. They were exploited,
I
and
mean, and my
he
understanding is it wasn't
operated with
even. Sorry to cut you off. My understanding is it wasn't even exclusive to girls. I mean, it was just underage children. Just
children,
children.
right?
Yeah,
And I mean that makes
I know.
mm,
Makes it worse.
yeah, I'm not
But
saying that makes it worse. Like it could be worse, like it could be worse, but that makes it more painful,
right.
because then we have a whole other segment of children, not just the girls, but also now we have young boys. And I want to remind people that there's so many layers to this, but Epstein operated with basically impunity. I mean, he did what he did for years. There was a young woman who came out, I think, in I wrote this down. 1996, Marla Farmer reported Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to the FBI. Nothing was done. He wasn't even arrested till 2019. And I'd also point out that Pam Bondi was the attorney general in the state of Florida while he was operating that sex ring out
Yeah,
of Florida, and
and
he good
and
friend with Trump.
and there was
I think
someone.
there's a picture of her. Wasn't there a picture of her and Trump and Epstein was right there?
Yeah, I mean, there's also there's a bunch of pictures of Trump and Epstein
There's
together.
so much.
The other thing that was interesting about him being arrested in 2009, not to derail too hard, but I sent you about today that Alexander Acosta was
Oh,
the attorney general at
that
that
he appointed Alexander Acosta in 2017.
yeah, and then so
2017.
yeah, so
But let me
and he's
say
in the
this.
current cabinet.
So we
He's
are
current Secretary of Labor.
That's right. He's currently in the cabinet. So I want to say, yes, this is heinous that we're talking about sex with children, but I also want to remind people that this is also about power brokering, blackmail. This is about exploitation. So we have more than just why does this matter? Because it isn't just like it's bad enough. This isn't just about sex abuse of children. It is also about using this for power, position, prestige, blackmail, leverage, whatever you want to say. And there are systems in place that we're seeing play out in real time where Trump has the power to, you know, look the other way. Right now, people are screaming for this. His own base is mad at him.
Yeah, there's a bunch of places in the social media sphere that have been very vocal about what's happening right now.
Well, and this is another thing that pisses me off because the MAGA base glorifies wealth as a measure of success.
Right.
but it wealthy people who are engaged in this kind of behavior.
Yeah, because they
Not
can,
all,
because
but many.
yeah, well, and it's because they can get away
They
with
can
it. Just to clear up misinformation on our part. So it was actually in 2007, 2008 that Acosta was the one that approved the plea deal for Epstein. So he was actually arrested in 2007.
Oh, see,
No, because he was arrested. He
okay,
was arrested
okay.
before,
Right,
got
you're
a
right.
plea
I
deal.
didn't look at my I forgot he
Yeah,
was arrested before.
yeah, and then got
Okay.
a plea deal from Acosta, and then was arrested again in 2019 after the Maxwell civil case,
I
which we're
didn't
going to get
even
into. But
either. Jeez. I think you should take it away because clearly I can just run
I
down, pick a
yeah,
rabbit hole.
I'm
I'm
yeah.
yeah.
So I guess just to get right into kind of where did it all from what I can see, where did it all begin? Because in 2007 he got a plea deal. He was released. There was no news about it. There was nothing, right? Like if there was, it was
Oh, and
probably
that's
like
part of
a
the
bloop,
system.
like
It's absolutely part of the system. The media that buries the stories because these are wealthy people.
right. And so, but then in what was it? So in 2000, let me make sure I've got my dates right. I think it was in 2017. A civil case was brought against Maxwell by I'm gonna say her name wrong. Guffier. If
Oh, Virginia, I think it's Jeffrey.
oh, is it
I
Jeffrey?
could be wrong,
Oh,
but
oh,
it's
okay. That actually makes sense.
well, no, it's pronounced Giuff, or I'm sorry, spelled Giuffre.
Yeah. So yes.
Okay, I
So
think it's pronounced Jeff.
okay. So she brought a civil case against Maxwell that was settled in 2017. And
Okay, you
then
don't settle a case if you're right.
well, I mean that's the point too, because if there was also the case that she brought against Prince Andrew, which was like all encompassing as a part of that, right? That's where Maxwell was initially brought in, and then of course Epstein was brought in 2019 as a part as on I think it was on under the same discovery charges, and then he committed
Right.
suicide. And then in 2020, that's whenever Maxwell was brought in and was no in 2021 Maxwell was brought in and federally prosecuted for child sex trafficking, and she's
I'm
been
shocked
sentenced to 20
she's
years.
still alive, actually. And I mean that. I don't mean that ugly.
Yeah.
I'm astonished that she's still alive.
So Jeffrey sued Prince Andrew in New York, alleging that she was sexually assaulted by him whenever she was a minor, and then the royal family settled that case in 2022 for a reported $12 million. So, yeah, so that was, and then
I think we need to remember, why do we not believe the women? I mean, these are just we've literally just mentioned two women. We mentioned Maria Farmer, who originally reported it, and then you talked about Virginia Jeffrey.
yeah, Jeffrey,
Okay, for and there's at least 27 other women, and I think I send you the link. There was an is it FBI? There was a case where they say that there could be hundreds, if not 1,000 or more victims.
yeah. I mean that's yeah that some of that was that like the pre-election talk stuff that like was a part of the pre-election speeches where they were like, we're gonna get to the bottom of it and we're gonna release all this information and we're gonna hold anybody accountable that was involved.
Right.
And then yeah, okay, dog. But to finalize, so the recently those I had it in my notes and I lost it. But the documents were eventually unsealed, and it had a lot of it had several people's names, and I'll just list off some of the major ones. So Prince Andrew was the obvious one. Alan Dershowitz,
Right.
Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Glenn Dubin, John Luke Burnell, and George Mitchell are some of the more
And see, here's the thing.
prominent people
And
on that list.
I think that any Democrat, liberal, whatever is going to agree with me. I don't give a flying fuck who's on that list.
Yeah,
I, I, if you're on the list and I know you, I don't know you.
Yeah.
I don't know you. I never knew
Off to
you. I
jail
won't
you
speak to
go, motherfucker.
off with his head.
Yeah. Well,
I
and
mean,
that's
the
go ahead.
whole stupid argument is, well, Democrats might be on the list. Well, good. Clinton needs to go to jail too. I
Here's
mean,
my
if
thing.
you're on the list,
I'm not in a cult. Send all those motherfuckers. I don't care. That's where I think they get lost. Is like in their mind,
oh,
if Trump's on the list, oh, we shouldn't release the list because that's my guy. But like
a hundred,
I do not have that kind of dedication to these people. If they're guilty of committing these heinous crimes, like fuck them. I have no
right.
loyalty to that.
Right. And I have to say, I've been having these conversations. This has been the Epstein files, the list has been such an excellent base to have conversations with MAGA, because it is one thing that we are purportedly in alignment on.
Yes.
And yet, I don't know if you've seen some of the conversations I've had on social media. That list of MAGA behaviors, the 9 MAGA behaviors that show up,
Mhm.
they still do it with this one. I posted something on Facebook, and our friend Rush comes back talking about auto pens. What? Like what? So I think this is I know, right? So I think we have to understand that this isn't only about the painful, heinous exploitation of children. This is about power. This is about secrecy. This is about who gets punished. The thing that is unacceptable to me that we're screaming, I'm sorry, not we. The administration is screaming about how horrible the immigrants are.
Mhm.
But I can guarantee you that there is not a drag queen or an immigrant on the Epstein list,
Yeah.
or a trans person.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. This is where I know my brain just overloaded.
So many things,
It's
right?
just overloaded. So I think it is it is just kind of crazy to me too that they're so they let's say they got on top of it. They got the budget approved. They got everything they needed. So now I imagine in the MAGA minds, okay, so he he kept his obligation to for the mass deportations. All right, let's go on to the next thing, the Epstein files. Right. So now that they got that done, and then Trump's trying to like swing it back, like no wait, we still got to talk about the deportations. No wait. Now we got to talk about how
Well,
Obama and the Russian collusion thing. No, oh wait, no, just like
oh wait, I have chronic venous insufficiency. I was
yeah,
fine 2 months ago. I was in the perfect picture of health,
yeah.
but now I have chronic.
he was an NFL linebacker a couple months ago. What happened?
But again, I mean, I don't want to. There are plenty of pundits who talk on and on and on about the list and who's on it, and you and I are going to talk about some of that. But I think the bigger picture here is what we're talking about is the rich protecting the rich, the wealthy protecting the wealthy, and exploiting the vulnerable.
Hmm.
And that has really been our big thing about this entire administration. And again, if there's a Democrat on that list, fuck him. I mean, he goes to prison too, right?
Right.
But these systems cannot be allowed to thrive. And we are seeing it play out in real time. I mean, a sitting president is resisting releasing a list, releasing information about known pedophiles and child sex traffickers.
Right.
What
And is
timeline I dropped into?
well, what the other thing that's crazy is all the stuff that came out. Like the Washington Post just put out that letter that he allegedly wrote, and then he's trying to sue them.
Oh,
He is actively trying to sue them, and the only thing I keep thinking about is I have to wonder I'm just hoping they don't settle. I'm hoping they're like, okay, let's go to discovery. We'll show you where we got that letter.
show you where we got this.
And then just see how
Yeah,
the
I
administration.
don't know that he actually. I don't know that he actually would follow through with that because of discovery. And one of the things that I did read was that there are people. I'm going to see if I can find this, because The reason all of this matters is we are the line in the sand has got to be drawn somewhere, and we've not drawn it on ignoring the Constitution. We haven't drawn it on,
The
you
mess
know, turning,
violation of due process. The we haven't
yeah,
drawn it on
I mean, a
on
whole laundry list of
yeah,
things that have
cuts to
happened up to this point.
Medicaid. I mean, yeah,
But sure to baby Jesus, can we draw it at pedophilia? Can we
please.
please draw a line at pedophilia? And um, uh, so he denied this, but all of these past years, there were he has auctioned off his doodles. Here it is. Um, Reporters had a field day rebutting Trump's claim that he didn't draw that because they had literally images of all the doodles that he had auctioned off for charities with photos of the sketches and the similarities
Yeah,
between that and what was drawn and written in the letter. And again, every accusation is a confession. Every denial is, and
I hate
there
how
has to come.
I hate how true that's I hate how true that's become. I'm like, I just I think you've heard me say that and probably seen me post it on threads a lot where I'm just like, just remember, every accusation is a confession. And then like shit'll happen. I'm like, okay, can this be the
Um,
one time where that's not the case?
Just be well, just every so again, does it matter that children were exploited, abused? Of course it
Yes.
does. That is the pinnacle point. And below that is the power plays, the power brokering, the secrecy, the lies, the the fact that women are abused and nobody believes them, but you're believing, these wealthy men who say it didn't happen. Um, gosh,
Yeah.
there so many things. I mean, there's legal loopholes, there's social statuses, there's, settlements with NDAs, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're normalized at this point, we're going to become desensitized and we're going to normalize this kind of bizarre behavior. I want this behavior to be, oh my God, stuff. And we're not even there. We're like, huh, Trump's at it again.
Yeah, yeah, and that is that unfortunate thing that we've talked about to be the desensitization. Hope that's I said that right. Of like, whenever shit like this goes on, where because of how rapid fire the administration, because the strategy of rapid, I mean, it's their strategy, because their strategy of rapid fire information, one thing after another, and it's nonstop. Then whenever the next thing comes, it's just like okay, some other crazy shit.
Well, and I think we also have to ask the question, what does real justice look like at this point? Because we have just been hit with this fire hose of bullshit and madness, the question then becomes, what does justice look like? I mean, for me, justice looks like release the damn information. Now, I think it's also important, facts matter. So there's all this production and media play on, well, I'm going to tell the administration says, I'm going to tell Pam Bondi to release the information. And she goes, I'm going to do it, whatever he says. And then you get a hold of the actual legal documents, and the legal documents say, and I probably don't have it right here, but basically they're saying, subject, we want these legal documents subject to the court redacting personal information for the privacy of the victims and the ones involved.
Yeah, well, and
I mean,
if I recall, that was actually a deflection because what they were trying to get released was the testimonies for the grand jury back during I don't know if it was
Epstein the first.
yeah I think it was the 2019 trial, which as we recall didn't really. I mean, he was indicted.
Yeah.
He was grand jury indicted, but like, how much information is going to be in there because of which it didn't go through any of the actual criminal proceedings thereafter.
Right. So I think we have to. I mean, we don't have the answers. Let me start with that. Aaron
Right.
and I are not going to say so. The answer is
Yeah. The answer is
I mean, hopefully,
hopefully we get the
yeah.
answer.
I mean, I think hopeful resistance is about asking better questions. That we're insisting on truth with integrity. We're not going after them. We're going after like them. I want to see all the Republicans on the list.
Mm,
That isn't. I don't think is hopeful resistance. I don't think this Epstein case is only about who was involved. I think it's also about um, how do we how do we move forward where we don't have this environment that is that these kind of people can be victimized, and it's hushed up for, okay, it's 2025, and if I remember from my notes, um Maria Farmer reported Epstein and Maxwell in 1996.
yeah,
I mean, come
and
on.
nothing happened with it. And then
I mean,
didn't her sister wasn't her sister also involved?
Annie,
I think I remember.
Annie, she testified in,
Yeah,
yeah, she testified in court that I think uh, Maxwell groomed her, turned her over to Epstein, who slept with her. I don't like to say slept with her, raped her,
yeah,
I guess is correct.
assaulted
When
her.
she was 15,
Yeah,
assaulted her. I mean, I think we have to use the right language. Underage woman. No, it was a girl.
yeah,
It was a girl. It was a young girl. So I think the bigger question is what happens next. I don't want to spend all our resistance energy on forensic examination. We know, right? We know
right.
what's happening, what's going on.
And what needs to happen
Let's
next?
see,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
So and I think it's just important when we talk about so what, who cares? The focus for effective resistance can't just be on we want Trump to go down. Of course we do. Of course we do. I mean, come on. But we want the system that enabled a sexual predator to become president of the goddamn United States to
yeah.
get broken.
And that's the other big. I mean that's the biggest, I think, part of it is because it's not even just the child predator part of it. I mean, the fact that Trump as a convicted felon was able to get in office, if he was able to get in office, get away with with being a pedophile. I mean, for just to get away with all of it and there be no repercussions at all, and then he becomes president. I think, yeah,
I mean,
that's the system that we need to be resisting to change.
and I'm going to say this, and my apologies in advance if it makes you uncomfortable. Um, I was sexually assaulted by my own dad. Okay, so this is very personal to me. That that these women who were sexually assaulted, they don't they don't just get their testimony diminished. They're overridden. And but wait, it gets better. The man who sexually assaulted them or was involved in the ring of men that sexually assaulted young women becomes the fucking president of the United States.
Yeah,
It doesn't get any more slap in the face than that.
right. Like, how do you?
So,
That would, yeah. It's got to be that's
right?
really hard to parse that. It's just like I can't imagine. I can't even imagine what it's like to just watch someone that could have that would have done that to you.
Yeah.
Just now you get to see him every day on TV as
Now you
the
you see
most
them
powerful
every day.
person in the world.
There are MAGA. I mean, MAGAs who venerate him. There are
Yeah,
people who say God sent him. There are people who pray that he's just so successful because he's so wonderful, and he sexually assaulted you.
yeah.
So I think we have.
I imagine you start gaslighting yourself at some point. Just
I
like,
think a coping mechanism is definitely. I'm just not going to think about it.
hmm
Of course it is. I mean, it has to be. I made a note about something. So I wrote, in the face of all this, how do we remain hopeful? We have to remember that accountability is not vengeance. And that is a big deal. That we're not on a witch hunt. This isn't let's get Trump.
yeah,
This is finally he's done something that maybe will get people's attention. It's like the bully on the playground. I use that analogy all the time. The bully on the playground pokes you. And maybe he hits you when the teacher isn't looking. And then he hits you when the teacher's looking because she doesn't care. and then you start fighting back and you get in trouble.
Right.
And at some point, you're thinking, "Is this guy gonna do something?" And so finally, he urinates on you in the middle of the playground, and they still don't do anything. But then he gets out a knife and maybe cuts you. I mean, he just pushes and pushes until he finally does something.
Yeah. Where like, and then he gets to, yeah. Even if this is the catalyst by which the records of accountability start to come through, good,
Right.
good, good. I mean, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable that it took all it took it took everything else, but this was the thing. But I mean,
Well, and
this is certainly a good thing to be for it to be.
if this is and honestly, if someone has been a Trump supporter up to this point and this is the deal breaker for them, come on over to the dark side. We have cookies,
Yeah,
right? Uh,
just
I'm
be ready to
not.
work. Just be
His,
ready to work.
yeah, historically, I would have just punched you in the nose for it. But you know what? Come on over. If you supported Trump and this was a deal breaker for you, my only question is going to be, what are you going to do about it now?
Hmm. That's been
Okay.
that's been our stance the whole time. I mean, I think I tagged you recently on a thing with Threads because there was a girl who voted for Trump one, and then basically
Yes.
flipped. And the comments
Yeah.
were a mix of people that are like us. They're like, okay, now that you're here, what are
Here.
let's go. You got to work now. And two people being like, well, I can't. Screw you. This is all your fault. It's just like, okay. Some people do, and
Well,
some people do want that veneration. They want that.
you know what? Let's be clear. There is in my heart of hearts a fuck around and find out gremlin who's like, well, that's what you voted for. But I'll be honest. Um, I don't think even in the recesses of their little pea picking hearts, I don't think MAGA ever thought he was a pedophile.
Which is so to me
I
it's
know.
fucking crazy that you can see picture after picture after picture after picture and video and video and video
Wait, wait,
of
wait. Let me cut you off right there. Where would they see that? Fox News isn't showing it. They're not going to go out and research it. Certainly none of the Make America Great people. So the thing is
yeah,
they don't see it. They didn't
yeah.
see it. But this
Or
is
when they
something you
did, they
can't
just didn't
ignore,
believe it. They were just like, whatever. That's
right? And I will say, in this age of AI generated photos, but I learned a new trick this week. You can do a search and you can say, show me pictures of, I'm going to say his name, show me pictures of Trump and Epstein before 2023. Because AI generated stuff didn't really hit the internet till 2023.
yeah,
So if you don't believe us, go out and do your own search. Not that you will, because I don't think MAGA has a strong track record of doing their own research. But so okay, so we talked about the bigger story. We talked about how the different people that are involved. We talked about the blah, 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 conspiracy theories on both sides. So I think the bigger question is because again, we're not going to belabor what's already all out there. I mean, for me, we have to remember accountability is not vengeance, but what do we do about it? We always like to, end the show, the last 15, 20 minutes of it by talking about, okay, now what?
yes. Now what?
I say you call your representatives. I'll be blunt, you don't need to call your Democratic representatives. You
Yeah,
need to call Republican representatives in Congress, and you need to tell them,
that something
I,
needs to be done about it.
I insist.
Yeah.
Protests need to be absolutely centered around this. Conversations need to be had. I don't think social media is like 1% of what we need to be doing, right?
Yes.
So sharing memes on social media is not the action item we're pushing for, right?
Right.
Um, but I think we have to ask better questions than, okay, was Trump involved? that's not the biggest question here. The biggest question is how did we fucking get here? And how can we make sure this doesn't happen again? So it won't happen until the information's released.
Right.
Will it happen? I
We
do
can only
not
start
know.
moving on the track of accountability once we have once we have all the info.
Right?
Right.
Because right now there's so many unknowns. I don't know who's on the list. Do we think we have an idea of some of the people that are on the list? You bet. But the bigger question is we have to get more information. And honestly, I mean, let's go back to the nothing burger part. I, this could have been over. If there's nothing to it, it could have been over
Yeah, well,
by now.
I would like to the reason why I think nothing is still on the table is because and this I think this is the best question that they don't ask a lot of good questions, but I think this is actually they don't have anyway. This is the best question that MAGA has.
Sit down. If this is the best question
Here it
MAGA's
is.
ever had.
Ready? First time ever. Good question.
I don't know.
If the files existed, and Trump won, why weren't they released while Biden was president? Right?
Okay.
That's the question that they ask, and the answer in my head is again either because the evidence is so damning to so many people regardless of political affiliation, or there's no substantial evidence. Because I am just
I
of the
think
mind that while Biden was president, and maybe he didn't do it because on the strategic side he felt like it would just embolden Trump. I don't know, but right because there's that side of it, and again,
I will say
it's the
that's a
strongest.
good point. I don't think there's a nothing burger. Let me just go on. Let me
Yeah.
just go down in flames saying, "Ah,
So we can look back.
not a
We can look back, and if I'm wrong, you can rub it in my face, and if I'm right,
listen."
yeah, no,
What would you and I give to be wrong about the stuff that we've talked about the last 6 months? I would give many things to have been wrong. Some of the things that we talked about 6 months ago, we never thought would
yeah,
happen.
no way. And that was before we were recording, but I
Oh,
mean, there was tons of stuff that
oh
we
well,
talked
yeah.
about.
I'm watching this. Aaron and I have been having these conversations for close to a year now, and we just decided to start recording them in January because we thought we want our kids and grandkids to know that we resisted.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So let me answer that question because I think it's a good one, and I don't know that I have an answer. But if the files existed, why weren't they released under Biden? My my top level, without really thinking about it too hard, is well, he didn't block them. So let's start with that.
Yeah.
He could have released them in January of 2024. He didn't. As I recall, there was no big outcry to release them.
Right.
The fact that he could have, and I don't know, maybe we need to see what was going on in the world in January of 2024. I mean, was there a, I mean, what else was going
Was
on?
the
Maybe the sex.
were we fighting were we fighting off inflation and
I mean, I don't
preventing
know. Could we be
economic global
recovering?
collapse?
Maybe we were like recovering from a pandemic.
Maybe
I
there was
don't
like
know.
bigger shit going on than the Epstein files. Yeah, no, I agree.
Now that's a top of mind thing. The second thing is, of course, there are Democrats on that list. Perhaps Clinton's on the list, and Biden felt like, okay, look, I don't want to tank him. Would he have been right to do that? Absolutely not. And if he knew that there were Democrats on that list, you know, and but he didn't block the release.
Which is what
He
we're
could,
seeing right now, just so we're all clear. That's
yeah.
yeah,
What I'm saying is, could he have done it? Absolutely. But he didn't block it.
right.
And that's what's happening right now. Trump is blocking the release of this data. At the same time, he's talking smack about Biden for not releasing it.
Right.
Make that make sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've moved on to the next thing. Now it's the Obama made up the Russian. Was it made up the
Okay,
Russian
somebody.
interference
Okay,
story?
this is new to me.
It's
Yeah,
it that
make new, new.
that's so new because it was like 2 days ago, and then it's been really only I say 2 days ago. It was yeah, I guess now 2 days ago, and then it only really came into like prominent media yesterday and then today. So But and I'll just summarize because we can talk about it as next week if we need to, as it really fully formulates, because it's really nothing right now. It's just a lot of jabber, right? Basically, Tulsi Gabbard is claiming that President Obama lied about there being Russian interference in the election and that he made it all up.
Okay, I
And
thought they proved that there was.
yeah, there's no evidence to support what Tulsi Gabbard is saying. In fact, there's a lot of counter evidence to what she's saying, but she's saying it, and we'll see. I mean,
Okay, so I did a little Google. In January of 2024, specifically, the Russia-Ukraine war was going on. The Israel-Hamas war was persisting. Uh, it
yeah,
was the
Hamas.
100th
Yeah, okay.
Hamas, sorry, Hamas. Um, there were attacks in Pakistan along the Iranian border, the imprisonment of former Prime Minister Imran Khan, that major earthquake. There was a major earthquake in Japan. Um, what else? Just a couple things.
Yeah,
Now, I mean, granted, the release of the Epstein files occurred, but I'm open to being wrong. I have a sense that there were a couple other things going on.
yeah, just a few. And I mean, here's what I honestly God think, because they released Epstein files to a bunch of like right wing political influencers. It was called Epstein Files Phase 1. I don't know if you're familiar with that. But they
I
like
heard about,
yeah,
I did.
so they like gave out this binder to all these major right wing influencers that were supposed to be
The
all this
white
information.
binders that they keep, was it the white
Yes,
binders
and you
they
see the
keep?
pictures of them like holding it up outside the White House, and then they got them, they get them, and all the information in those binders was the same information that everybody already had from the Ghislaine Maxwell trials. So there was no new information released during that big public release, and they called it phase 1, and there's going to be multiple phases, and we're going to have all this, we're going to get all this evidence together, and we're going to
And
release it
this was, when did this happen?
this year, January
Jan-
of this year.
this year. This was like
I
January, February.
Yeah, I actually think this is what I genuinely think, that they thought that they could just do that and then move on to the next thing, and people would just forget about it.
Well, I do agree with you, and I think that is the current administration's modus operandi is, oh look, a squirrel, oh look, a butterfly, oh look, an illegal immigrant,
Yeah,
oh look,
a trans person. Oh look,
first, hey, somebody's taking $1,000 a month on Medicaid and they don't deserve, they only
President
get
Obama lied about Russia. Biden's the reason the economy sucks. Like, quick, don't look over, don't look in the corner where there's pictures of Trump and Epstein together. Don't look over there. That just don't
like a
worry
hundred,
about that.
right? So
Yeah,
I think what I feel sad about with the MAGA base is, and I've really been pondering this, it's the low emotional intelligence. Now, I am not by any stretch of the imagination saying that if you're a liberal or a Democrat, you have high emotional intelligence. I'm saying that the patterns of behavior that go with liberal thinking versus conservative, like ultra conservative, weird MAGA thinking, those are significantly different.
right,
And so I think that you do have a bunch of people that are drug around by their nose ring about who to hate and who to fear. I've said it. I've said it for more than a year when he started running for president in 24. It's a platform of hate and fear. So, oh God, so many things.
yeah. And like we said, call your reps. I mean, the House tried to pass basically a bill like
Right?
demanding the release. And
And every single
every
fucking
single
Republican
Republican
voted against it.
voted against it.
Every single, like 218 or
It's
whatever.
a really
It was
bad look. It's just a really bad look.
really,
It does
really
not look
bad.
good.
Was the one time every single Democrat voted for it and every single Republican voted against it.
Yeah.
And again, and when you think about, I don't know if you remember when Marjorie Taylor Greene got really pissed off about something, and she said she had so much dirt on everybody and all of the sex scandals and all that stuff, and they
Oh, I'm
better not
sure.
make her mad. She's going to tell everybody. And I thought,
Y'all got this. They have it again.
you got problems. Why don't you get your house in order?
I
I
was,
mean, y'all are a
it's
mess.
one of those things, and I mentioned this earlier. It's one of those things where I feel like MAGA has this really tough time imagining that uh, the us versus them on our side is not the same, because we try not to do it at all, and they are fully actively engaged in it all the time. So like when
All
that's
the
why the whole thing that like you hear where like I even probably posted a meme about it because I just feel like it's so accurately created. It's like they'll say, okay, you know, we would release the Epstein files, but just so you know, there's some Democrats in there too, and we're like, we don't care, we don't care, fucking release it, we don't give a shit, and they can't process that we are
They
just,
can't,
yeah, we don't
honestly,
give a
it's
fuck.
kind of like when I don't give a fuck who's on the list. I don't care if my brother's on the list.
Yeah,
I don't care who's on the list. I don't
I
care
don't give a
who's
shit.
on the list. But see, it's that mindset. And again, this is the thing, the MAGA mindset. And it is such a low emotional intelligence. It is such a low emotional intelligence perspective that it is very difficult to wrap my brain around. You want to hate and fear other people so much
Yeah,
that you will ignore all this behavior in the person who tells you who to hate and fear. So, oh, Jesus.
yeah,
Okay, I want to repeat something that I think is super important, and then, whatever closing comments you want to make. We have to effectively engage in hopeful resistance, we have to ask better questions. We have to face difficult circumstances with better questions. Even when it's uncomfortable, we have to ask better questions. Even if we don't know all the answers, we have to ask better questions. And the questions are not blaming questions, they're solving questions.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I tracking
I
with
don't
you.
want to focus, right? I don't want to focus on all this. Okay. The data, the information will tell us who's at fault, who's to blame.
Right.
But I think the solving question is, how do we move forward and create a system of accountability that doesn't let this shit happen to vulnerable populations?
Yeah,
Because this sex trafficking is this thing here. But let's not forget how many people were deported and put in horrible situations, torn away from their families, likely sexually assaulted in these foreign prisons. What about the people who are going to lose all their health care
yeah,
and will die? I don't know.
oh,
That's
yeah,
pretty important.
yeah,
uh, so I mean, we have some systems that we have to the systems that enable this kind of abuse of power, wealth, and position really are what I think is the bigger issue here. Not more important. It's not more important. I never want to diminish the sexual abuse and the exploitation that's taken place. I also want to focus on, this other thing. So, accountability is not vengeance, and we want to make sure that people are held accountable.
yes.
So, that's my little sermon for the day.
No, I think I think it's spot on because one of the one of the things that I always think about is um, it is better to create or to have a mindset of holding people accountable than it is to have a mindset of placing blame, because what you can wind up with whenever you're looking for people to blame instead of looking for like looking for accountability is that then you're not solving the problem, you're just pointing fingers, and it
Yes, and
should
when
be
you're looking for solutions, you ask better questions. Instead
yes,
of saying, "Whose fault is this?" You're saying, "How do we make sure this doesn't happen again?"
yeah,
Instead of saying, "Who do we blame?" Then we say, "Who held up the process?" I mean, this isn't about
yeah, where did things fall
individual.
apart, right? Because we do have processes in place that are supposed to prevent these types of things. So who at what point was the baton dropped?
Well, at which point,
Yeah,
not what point.
yeah.
I mean,
Sorry, yeah. At
from
which points?
1996 when this was reported, and then it went on till 2019. And I mean, the fact that we're hopeful doesn't mean we're naive. there is no way that the people who were engaged, actively engaged in this sex trafficking operation, just said, "Oh, well, okay, I guess I'm done with that."
Yeah.
You know,
No way.
they're still that's okay. They're still engaged in it. Someone else is running a sex trafficking operation. I mean, hell, they caught 200 people in Texas, of which, may I just say, if you look at the mug shots, I didn't notice a whole lot of.
Oh yes, I remember that. And yeah. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how
I
whenever
think most of them were American
I
citizens.
actually think yeah. I mean it's yeah.
Yeah. Whole nother
Yeah,
thing. So
whole
anyway,
another thing.
we have to ask better. Hopeful resistance is about asking better questions.
Yes.
So call your reps, ask better questions, focus on solutions, not blame, and anything else?
Um
So
so many
so many
things.
things.
I always want to end every episode. Okay, yes, this one was not one where we were actively talking about like we have in the past where we're actively talking about, okay, this is, well, I guess we did talk about solutions anyway. I like to end every episode just reminding everyone that the way that you resist is your own form of resistance. And it doesn't have to be,
Oh,
it doesn't, it
100%.
doesn't have to be any particular thing going, you don't have to go to protest. You don't have to call your reps. Just find some way to actively resist what's going on. And whether it's big or small, just know that if it's your form of resistance, then it's good enough, right? I know people.
100%.
Yeah,
And I would say, even in this regard, if you see something, say something. The sex trafficking and sexual exploitation and sexual abuse and these kind of things go on all the time. So perhaps your form of resistance is going to be keep an eye out for this kind of stuff.
yeah,
You know. So yeah, that was a good point. Good point.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, we have someone watching.
Oh, hi.
Ooh. Well, hello. Don't know who you are, but hello. Or I should say hello. I'm
You're
waving
waving
at
at the screen. Hi instead of hi.
Okay.
uh,
Well, thanks for being here today, Aaron.
mhm.
I enjoy these conversations, and I feel like we would do them if nobody watched. So we
Yeah,
had one. Yay!
yeah. Yes, thank you
Okay. All right.
for
Well,
hanging out.
right? Until we get together again, friends. Bye for now.
Recording stopped.